here. Do you guys know Amy? She's lovely. Amy is going to be doing the timer, and how this is going to work is that she's going to hold up yellow when you have 30 seconds. And again, you have 1:30. So, Brad. So here's the question.
Check.
So we hear this story from families a lot. Someone they love is on the street. They're struggling with drug addiction and mental illness. They've maybe been arrested. They keep getting arrested and released, and they keep failing to go to court. Their family really wants them in treatment, right? They desperately want them in treatment. And my question is from the governor's office, what changes would you make? What would that look like in practice?
Sound check, how we doing? Yeah. Okay, perfect. So, okay, I'll step into the framework a little bit. You said I have 1.5 minutes?
Yes.
So much time. So we have to go back to our legalization of a lot of basic, street drugs a couple of years ago, and then the rollback of that now. Reality is that brought a lot of people that have, let's say, mental disturbance issues into our state and into Portland, and we're seeing the after effects of that now. When we get into what do we do about it, we have a problem, we've inherited it. What do we do now? It becomes about basic support services, getting people as far away from drugs as we possibly can. So rolling back the basic, the legalization that was enabled is a first step. After that, we need to look at basic care. The state has the resources to. They're doing this out where I live, out near Forest Grove. They're putting in basic houses. Well, they're not houses, they are, I don't know if there's a term for them. They're probably 10 by 8 shelters with some sort of communal area where people can gather. It gives people the emotional support, the community support to actually be able to step up, and they're not fighting addiction individually. That's sort of a step. Give somebody a step in the right direction. And I assume I'm short on time, so is that a warning or is that time up?
30 seconds.
30 seconds. So, I thought that was it. I'm going to go ahead and sit down. I think I'm doing it.
Okay. And this is Wendell?
Waddell.
Waddell. Excuse me, my dear. We haven't met before. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You have great hair. Okay. Do you want me to reread the question for you? See, why do they ask me to do this? It looks great, don't worry. Yeah.
It gets crazier and crazier the more I touch it. So, you go ahead. It's nice to
Yeah,
meet you.
so,
I can be loud, so.
So we're bringing the real life situations here. What would you do differently under your leadership in Oregon if you were governor? We hear this story, people are mentally ill or they are drug addicted, they're not getting into treatment, they're cycling in and out of the system and they're not getting help, and their family desperately wants them to have treatment, but the person does not want to get help. How would that change underneath your leadership as governor?
So I think that a big strong part of that question was the person doesn't want to get help, but they need it.
Please speak up.
Yeah.
Hold the mic. Hold it straight
Is
out.
this better?
Yeah.
I think one very important part of that question would be, what would you do if they didn't want help? But it's very apparent to people in society, leaders in society, that they do need help, their family. There should be abilities for them and their family to get this help, whether, let's say, they condone it or not. This is saving a life. So I disagree with watching people use drugs and just suffer without help. I did write down a few things with this response. I wanted to point out that, did you know that 1 in 4 adults is a drug addict? As a paralegal and someone educated in criminal justice and criminology with 2 additional criminal behavior certificates, I come with a whole lot of experience in this area. I have learned knowledge, and like some of you have lost a sister or a friend who has died due to drugs, or whether it be due to my refusal to look away, as the world changes before my eyes. I've now been forced to observe that around 60% of people who get rearrested for these crimes or other crimes, within 3 years, they commit another crime. And those released again experience either another drug relapse or another reentry into the criminal justice system. It's a cycle that needs to change. In my knowledge and education, ongoing monitoring rehabilitation efforts are essential, but for long-term success, we need stable housing. I enjoyed what he said about housing and more systems designed by the state. Excuse me for that, sorry.
DeAngelo Leroy Turner, would you like me to repeat the question?
Please do.
Okay, so paraphrase, I'd like to know what you're gonna do when you're the governor about the fact that there's people that are mentally ill and they're using drugs, they're cycling in and out of the system, the emergency room, jail, etc., not appearing to court, don't want help, their families desperately want them in help. How would you change that, or what changes would you make from the governor's office to impact that problem?
Well, let me say this, guys. I grew up in a low-income area. My name is DeAngelo Turner. I'm gonna repeat that again. North Portland. I'm quite sure some of you guys in this room know about North Portland. Drug infested. These guys have been tremendously inadequate about their services based on the programs that have been given in the neighborhood. I believe in my position, given as governor, this is what I'm going to do. They already have programs established right now. One of the programs is called Going Home. The other one is called Miracles. The other one is called Staying Together. These programs are services that are supposed to be providing a service for those that are on drugs, alcohol, or those things that people don't pay attention to. Some of us in this room right now probably have family members that are probably on drugs, alcohol, and etc. My job as a governor, and I have a great education behind this, is to establish those programs that are already there and make sure that they are meeting the needs of the people. That's our problem. We are family. Some of the people that was in our community have been displaced based on their position. They have no money. They have been displaced based on their situation. And I must tell you, I stand on that. And again, I've been educated by a Democrat and a Republican, so I know both sides of the story, and I'm not going to let anybody get away with that. Please believe me.
Thank you. And Diehl, would you like me to repeat any of that question?
No, I think I got it.
Okay.
It's great to be here. Yeah, this is about incentives and accountability. We have a system now that is incentivizing antisocial behavior. We're enabling this behavior where we have unsheltered homeless that are 99% of them are drug addicted and or mentally ill. And it's a travesty. It's a travesty for them and for the rest of the community, and it's costing us billions of dollars. Billions of dollars. What I'm supporting for this is something very simple. First off, we have to restore the ability of each community to enforce their own public camping laws. Meaning you can say, we will not allow camping in public spaces. We have basic shelter. I feel we're obligated to have mental health treatment and drug addiction treatment accessible. But the thing is, you go out to these folks, unsheltered folks, and say, look, we have this shelter, we have treatment, but you can't camp here anymore. It gives them an incentive to do the right thing, and that's what it's going to take to fix this. Not only will it fix it, it will save us hundreds of millions of dollars. You know, there's other communities in this country that do what I'm talking about and privately fund the treatment. It's not costing the city or the state anything. The other thing is related to this, state funds, I will tie state funds to outcomes. If you're gonna get state funds, Portland, it's gonna be tied to getting people off the street and getting people into shelter and out of shelter. Thank you.
Paul Romero, hi.
How you doing?
Good. Sorry I didn't catch you before.
No
Would you
worries.
like me to repeat any of it? You
No,
got
it's
it.
okay.
Okay.
My name is Paul Romero, and the simple fact is I have skin in this game. I have a sister who I lost 2 years and 2 months ago, outside of Portland. Fentanyl overdose. She's been through a whole lot. And, well, thankfully, in a way, it kind of finally came to an end. The downside is that I know what the family's been through. I know what the daughters and the sons have been through, the rest of the family. Here in Oregon, we have all kinds of states dumping their homeless, the drug addicted right here in Oregon. We've literally created an environment, a destination getaway for these problems. So for whatever problems we have, it's been amplified and magnified. That's another issue. Part of the screening process is going to have to be some tough love where we send these people back to their respective states and send those governors a bill. Yes. Yeah. The next step is this. Understand that most Oregonians are one catastrophe away from homelessness. That brings a whole lot of problems. And for me, that's got to be addressed as well. Drugs, alcohol, all of it. We have to create environments and that actually give them hope. Put some light at the end of the tunnel that's not an oncoming train. And with the amount of money we spend in this state with nonprofits that accomplish nothing, they don't talk to the homeless. I've talked to them. They've never been out there. So the homeless, they want an opportunity. They do want a leg up. And I think we can do that. With the drug addicted and alcohol, again, this can be addressed. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's plenty of programs that work. Bethlehem Inn out of Bend, Oregon has a great program. Thank you.
Christine Drazan.
Thank you. I would say that we have been addressing two things that they're the same a little bit. Mental health challenges and addiction look the same because of fentanyl. But in reality, you talk to parents all the time that actually have a young person in their household with mental health challenges, and they will tell a very different story for what's required. So I'm gonna focus on the question, which is addiction. And when it comes to addiction specifically, Oregon has got to have new leaders. Our leaders in our state believe that drug addiction is a neutral activity. We don't even have sobriety as in our definition of what recovery is. Can you even imagine, like, wrap your head around that? We completely lack any common sense from a leadership level, from the top down. And we see it and we feel it. We have great providers in recovery providers in our state. There are gaps in the system, but right now we have a housing first approach when it comes to homelessness, and we all know that that's tied to addiction. I know in a room of this size, we've got so many people here that no doubt you have a loved one that has struggled. No doubt you possibly personally could have struggled, and I'll tell you this. There is dignity in recovery, there is dignity in sobriety, and as governor, I will lead with a focus on sobriety and long-term recovery across our state. That's where my investments will go. Thank you.
Danielle Bethell.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. So for me, this is pretty basic. I do this today as a county commissioner in Marion County. We're being very successful in the programs that we've scaled out there. They're scalable statewide. First of all, the concept of the right to fail in Oregon should be obliterated. It should not be a possibility for anybody to have the right to fail in any space of life. There's enough money in this system to take care of everyone individually. We need to have a treatment first system that's accountable at the local level. We need to have outreach workers that are touching the lives of these people daily and hold them accountable to the community expectations where they are failing forward instead of just failing out. We can't afford it. They don't want to continue to do it, but they're allowed to do it in a space where Democrats say that it's compassionate and it's loving to let them fail the way that they are. I disagree. I'll tell you right now that in Portland, there's a very robust program that is very successful that needs statewide attention and additional resources. It's called, Lance Orton runs it, and it's City Team. And if you've not visited it, you need to go visit it. It's downtown, it's scalable across the city, it's run by people who have lived experience, and they are fighting against the statewide system of care right now, in partnership with me as a commissioner, to say that housing first doesn't work. Treatment first as a requirement is something important. And we do need to repeal the grants pass decision. We need to make sure that communities have control of their streets and their neighborhoods. I didn't see the card, but am I good? Okay.
Thank you. Dave Medina.
Sorry, there's a guy that looks like Abe Lincoln back here. It's throwing me off. It's actually kind of crazy. I know you hear it all the time, man, but okay. So here's the deal. Our leaders, our Democrat, especially leaders and the leaders in Portland, they have no idea. They don't know what they're talking about when it comes to addiction. They don't know anything about the issue. I grew up around addiction. I had family members and friends that dealt with addiction, so I'm very familiar with it. You cannot just open up treatment centers and go to a full treatment plan and just expect people that are dealing with addiction to just go walk in those treatment centers and get themselves healthy. That's not how it's done. We need to get back to, so as governor, I'm gonna do everything I can to go back to the enforcement method using the justice system. Because, and I do have compassion for these people. Again, I have family members that deal with addiction. What we did with Measure 110 was atrocious. Decriminalizing, enabling the problem, and then in 2024 trying to roll it back by making, not decriminalizing it, but making it back to a misdemeanor, but still going to a treatment type approach. We have to go back to enforcing the laws. We have to go back to penalizing people that are hurting our businesses, our families, our children. We have to be tough on this. At the same time, we have to show some compassion. So I would like to look at a budget proposal to, like Senator Drazan said, a lot of it's mental illness. I'd like to propose a budget plan for our mental hospitals and also treatment programs within the justice system. We have to get these drugs off our streets, and also it would help if we actually went to the source of the drugs, which a lot of it comes from south of the border and comes from these Tren de Aragua and these Venezuelan gang members that are pouring it into our communities. The Democrats' best friends. They're pouring it into our communities, so we need to go to the source of the problem, stop the source of the problem, and get tough on this because Portland is paying for it.
Thank you, David. Lynn, I'm gonna come down to you with a new question. This one's about small businesses. A lot of us hear this story over and over from small business owners, particularly in Portland, but I know that in Marion County, I'm starting to hear them as well. They deal with broken windows, vandalism, repeated costs that are coming from, I believe this drug epidemic. Their insurance deductibles in some cases are so high, they're canceled or they don't dare turn in for their deductible, they just pay out of pocket. And the issues in the surrounding area are keeping customers from coming in at levels that they're accustomed to. So my question is, from the governor's office, where can you actually make a difference for someone like that who's a small business owner? And what's perhaps a change that they could realistically feel from the governor's office?
Well, first I feel like such a cheat getting these questions prior to being here, so I did write down some notes, but I thought what we really have to do is I think I held down.
You're on, you just want to hold it like this.
No, it's blinking. This one. That's great.
We have to go to the back end.
Yeah, that one.
So, it's a real systems issue, low clearance rates, few arrests, high repeat offenses, lack of restitution recovery, insurance gaps, cost burdens, and authority deductibles. So if it costs $800 to pay out of pocket, if it's $800 to pay out of pocket and $1,000 to $1,600 to wait for an insurance claim or wait for someone to pay you back, you're gonna pay out of pocket. There needs to be something done quickly to simplify this for insurers. Maybe our local glass repair companies to partner temporarily on direct billing, pre-approved claims. Businesses could file quick online claims with photos. Repair companies could bill the insurers directly, eliminating out-of-pocket costs. This is a huge problem. Maybe having some kind of emergency vendor network on standby. This could also speed up window repairs. It's really hard to say because no matter what, it somehow feels like a policy failure when other human beings act like there's other alternatives. So I guess I'm gonna end it there. I'm gonna stop it there. But actually, no, I can continue for like 10 seconds. But it shouldn't fall on trying to track down this person that did that. There should be tougher crimes for those kinds of things, finding people that did them, and helping people get their stuff fixed quicker.
So I should have probably pointed this out. Some of these deductibles are $20,000 a window in downtown Portland, the Pearl, Urbanite across the way, Society Hotel, jewelry companies. These are sort of our friends in the neighborhood. So probably should have pointed that out, but these are very high deductibles that over time take people out of business. Do you want me to repeat the question? Oh, okay. Do you want me to repeat the question? Let's go this way. So you're next. Yes, you're next.
Repeat the question.
Okay. So there's businesses that are dealing with broken windows, vandalism, repeated costs, really high numbers. Again and again, customers aren't coming in because of the conditions around their business. My question is, from the governor's office, where can you actually make a difference for someone like that?
Let me be clear. Law has to be obeyed. There's no question about it. Grandma goes to the store, little kids go to the store owners pay high insurances for their properties. I made it clear, and I've been saying it from the beginning here last year, that if you break the law, you're going to jail. It's just what it is. And they've been having a lot of people loitering around stores, casing other people's cars, stealing their property, hard-earned that everybody in this room paid their debt for, and then you have somebody come steal it. Me being the governor, I must let you know, law will be obeyed. It's just real simple. It's not hard. So me being a part of your family, and you're my family, I have to be security. And if I'm sitting in that position, I have to make sure everybody's taken care of. That means that the law officer is in that county. He has to patrol that area that has to be overseen. It's older people that does that. There's older people that can't see what little kids are doing when they go to the store. They can't watch all their property. But let me be clear, law will be obeyed. It's been around since the beginning of time.
I like it.
It's real. It's real. It's real. So I got less than 30 seconds. 19. Okay, guys. Again, I'm your family. I am in charge of security being governor. These are my officers, which is the sheriff, state police, city police, and all the other police. That's our security. If you're too old, you can't take care of your property, it is my job to tell my brothers and sisters, if they're officers, to make sure they do their job. God bless you.
At Diehl.
I agree with this guy. You have to enforce the law. You have to enforce the law, even if it's a broken window. I think Giuliani did that, broken window policy. And in Portland, we're not enforcing the law. So as governor, my first thought is you guys need to quit electing socialists to run your city. Yeah, that's number one. But I think what they would feel, when I'm elected governor, these businesses would feel relief that they could stay open. Because again, the power that you have as a governor over this, one, you're setting the tone. We will enforce the law. The other is you tie the money to outcomes. You tie the money to outcomes. So if you're not cleaning your homeless encampments, if you're not getting people in and out of shelter and back to leading productive lives, if you're not reducing the hits on storefront properties, you're not going to get state money. So that is the power that the governor has over this. And plus, I'll be rallying and trying to motivate you guys not to vote for socialists anymore.
We need more of that. Paul Romero.
Okay, you have to understand something. I'm really not a politician. I'm more of a project manager, a project leader. And part of being a project manager or leader is you have to identify the core real issue. Well, if you have people that are destroying store windows and what have you, law enforcement has to enforce the law. That means removing them from the equation, taking them somewhere else, or they're not going to come back to do that damage. And we need better processes for these people, but ultimately, we got to protect business. They're there for their heart and soul and everything they put into that business. The idea that insurance is so out of this world for them is in itself ridiculous. If we do this the right way and remove these people from these areas, guess what? They don't have to worry about deductibles. You know? So address the issue, get to the core issue. Don't deal with the peripheral type stuff of just replacing a window. We'll just keep replacing it. That doesn't work. You have to go after the problem. So again, let's get back to dealing with the criminals, treat them like criminals, whether it's mental illness, whatever they have to be dealt with. They can be dealt with. There are ways that work that have been proven. They use them everywhere else, and I don't know why the leaders in this city don't. So like they said, stop electing socialists that like to create chaos. All right, thank you.
You know, a lot of this damage was done in the era of the riots, right? And we have political leaders that agreed with the premise and allowed for the city just to be burned to the ground. It's not like that today, but it is almost a ghost town. And if you go downtown, there might be a business that you love that's gone. It might have moved to the suburbs. What used to be a thriving, walkable, amazing city is now expensive, empty, and vaguely unpredictable. That has got to stop. What we have got to do is stop accepting chaos, stop accepting lawlessness, stop accepting perpetual decline across our state. As governor, I am committed to making sure that Oregon is the best place in the nation to raise your family, start a business, grow a business, and get a world-class education. This whole idea that Portland now is a place that somebody has a deductible and it puts them out of business, or their deductible is so high that they move to the suburbs because they don't have enough foot traffic to stay in business in Portland, that is structural doom loop. That's decline. We've got to reverse that. This is not an issue of, hey, how are insurance rates going to go back down again? This is fundamentally a broken system, and we need new leadership to fix it. Thank you.
Danielle Bethell.
Thank you. So, do you all know what the cash and lease bill is? Because if not, there's a petition over there. You should be signing it to repeal it. It's Senate Bill 48. That's the first thing I'm going to tackle as governor. It shouldn't exist at all. In fact, I can tell you right now, Portland's not the only community. You mentioned Marion County. I'm a Marion County commissioner. In the city of Salem, we have several businesses downtown in the last 3 years that have closed because of storefront damage. I'll tell you about one, Chronic Tacos. Their business window, because of art and mental illness, conflicted with each other, and the window was busted out 3 times, and the teenage boys in there, their lives were almost taken by a mentally ill woman who was triggered by the art. There's a graded issue here. There's mental illness, there's addiction, there's developmental disabilities, systems that are overlapping that we're not addressing at the root cause. But accountability is the root solution. We should have communities, specifically the city of Portland, who believes in enforcing the law. But the law today, in its current enforcement, does nothing. We need a governor that's going to stand up and fight the legislature and overturn some of this bullshit policy like Senate Bill 48 and hold people accountable. And on the backs of that, restitution should be committed to. And there's programs that are scalable in Marion County to help pay those businesses to pay for those deductibles. And then we need a bully leader that can run a commission in general on insurance to keep insurance agencies here so it's affordable for any business owner to have access to insurance. Thank you.
So here's the deal. People commit crimes in Portland because they can. How many of you feel safe parking in downtown Portland these days? All right. And I know none of y'all are voting these socialists. They're not even socialists, they're full-blown communists now, by the way, in our Portland City Council. But here's the problem. Law and order is lacking in Portland, and it comes from our leaders, and the people and the dogs and everybody else who votes them in, okay? They have something in Portland called police accountability. They actually see the police as the problem. These people see the police as the problem more than the actual criminals themselves. That is why crime is up. That is why your windows get broken into. And by the way, I'm a victim of one of those. When I was working in downtown Portland, going to college, it was my finals week, and my laptop and all my textbooks my car was broken into, backpack taken. That was crazy. So I feel everybody's frustration with the crime. As far as the businesses, I've talked to so many different business owners across Portland and in downtown Portland who have left the city because of this problem, because of public safety, because of the crime. And so as governor, if Portland's not going to fix their problems, because they don't want to, they enable it and they want it to happen, it's almost like a controlled demolition of our city, just like they're doing to our state, I will use the state police. By the way, I will propose a budget to increase their budget, the state police. There's no reason why illegals should be getting health care more than our state police. That's a choice. So I will use the state police if I have to, and I'll even use the National Guard if I have to. If you think that's radical, look at how much decline this Portland is in. That's what's radical. We will do what's right. I will use the tools as governor to get us back on track, and I will not apologize to it. I don't care how much these soy people cry. We're going to do the right thing because the majority of Portlanders want it.
DeAngelo, I think, is going to be, so we're going to go.
You gotta go, Brad. Brad, he's got Brad still.
Brad, okay. Sorry, Brad.
Where'd you go, Brad?
I was confused.
No problem at all. All right, we good on audio? So I'm a platform engineer. I have almost 20 years between IBM and Intel. I also go to the root of a problem. What I see in Oregon is we are in the early stages of a pretty dramatic decline in the economy. And a lot of this is regulatory, it's self-induced. So yes, I absolutely agree. Enforcement is critical. That's gonna stop, a large percentage of the problem. But a lot of what we see is crime of desperation, crime of people who are just jealous of what somebody else has, and they take actions just not thinking about consequences, but just thinking about getting even, sort of with the world. It's a very victim mindset that a lot of people are trapped in. And what I have been focusing a lot of my discussions on is rebuilding that opportunity path. So if we look at things like certain metrics, I graduated in '95, high school, and then went on to way too much college. I graduated from Roseburg High. Back in my day, in 1990, a house cost 2.3 times the average salary of a high school graduate. 2.3 times. Now we're at 9.3 times the salary of a high school graduate. That's a lot of lost opportunity. And guess what? We're paying. So I just finished a logo myself. I was general contractor on it. Hardest task of my life, but so much fun. I paid $85,000 in permit fees before I put a nail in a board. After that, Washington County increased permit fees 50% the year after, 20% after that, another 8.5% year upon year upon year. Yes, we need enforcement. We also need opportunity. Thank you.
We're going to move to question 3. You're all ready. Good.
I'm always ready.
I love that about you.
No doubt, you gotta be instant. This is what they asked for, this is what we gotta do.
Right. This one's about cost of living and working families. About half of working families in Oregon are living month to month right now. Housing, utilities, and everyday costs keep rising. What changes would you prioritize from the governor's office to relieve that pressure as fast as possible?
Let me be clear, I said it to my family before. While I'm in office, I'm going to suspend your taxes. I'm telling you. That should get a clap right there. Your clap, I'm dead serious. I'm going to suspend your taxes because I'm gonna tell you why. You guys are paying 8% in taxes. That's unbelievable. You guys don't even have the most population as New York City, but you have the highest property tax in America. That's unbelievable. My job is to lower your taxes 5 to 7%. I'm very good at math, I got to tell you. And so from there, I want to make sure while I'm in office, I want to make sure you guys understand this very clear. I don't want you to have any taxes paying while you're there. Because why? When it's suspended, you don't have to pay any. And then I want to tap into the marijuana industry. There's $150 billion that has to be allocated to you guys that afford the money that you keep giving to your kids that sneak around the corner to buy pot. I just want to be real with you. They don't tell you this, but I'm telling you. So it's $150 billion. I want to make sure that you guys be able to use that. People don't tell you that, but I'm going to make sure you understand that. So again, income is down because why? No one has jobs. We're not making anything and we're not working. We need to start working, guys. This is what it's all about, putting everybody to work. You guys that's elderly, you already paid your day in court or day in life. You don't have to worry about that. It's the young guys that's running around not doing anything. So I want to let you guys know everybody's going to do their job. So that's enough for me.
Thank you. Diehl.
All right, well, this may surprise you, but I don't like taxes. So what I'm proposing is a 10% tax cut. We've doubled our state budget in 10 years. You can't explain that with inflation and population growth alone. You can't. We can cut our budget and we can cut our taxes 10%. I'm calling for eliminating Oregon's hidden sales tax. You know we have a sales tax? Yeah, see, you guys are smart. Not everybody gets this. It's the corporate activities tax. Eliminate that thing. It is a failure. It is a failure. It is costing every consumer a lot of money. I'm calling for freezing property taxes on senior citizens as well. When I get into office, I will, there's executive orders that are in place that I will get rid of. One was the project labor agreements, but that's been found illegal by the courts. But eliminating the clean fuels executive orders that are increasing your energy costs, and also eliminating the climate protection program, which is just about to kick in. You haven't seen nothing yet. So those executive orders will go away. Tina Kotek has done a dismal job in creating homes. We need to create homes. We need to improve our permitting process and regulation to reduce the cost of homes. And I'll finish with this, jobs. We need good paying, good jobs. That's what lifts people out of poverty. Thank you.
My favorite part. Okay, besides the fact we have to audit the state of Oregon, we have to go through our nonprofits, our general fund, shut it all down. A lot of this is going to climate change agendas, and that money is being spent on what? The average salary for those nonprofits is $79,000 a year. How many of y'all enjoy that? No? No? How about this? Ask those people what do they actually do for their pay. You're not getting any answer, because there's nothing. Besides we do that, one of the things we have to do, that's going to save, I think we could save between 40 and 45% off our annual budget. Once we do this, we can do a couple things. We can eliminate income tax. We could possibly take a big chunk out of property tax. But see, to me, it's not enough to say, oh, we're going to hold the line on taxes. It's not enough that we're going to lower taxes a little bit. The goal is to eliminate them completely. And I have a way to do that. Senate Bill 100, Land Use Bill, Planning Bill. This shut down Oregon's use of its timber, It's natural resources, oil, natural gas, coal, minerals. We are abundant in these things, and we can use them without destroying our environment. So what I propose is that we generate those resources off public lands. That money goes and replaces all your taxes, right? Much smarter way to do this. And by the way, it's the core root of the problem. Address the root, don't cut off the top of the dandelion. So this is what I propose. This is what I'm going to do. I want to make life easier for all Oregonians. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Christine Drazan.
This is why I'm running, to serve you. Because I know the number one issue you're facing right now is you can barely afford to live here. This is it. There's all these other issues that we care deeply about, but if you can't afford to live here, you're gonna go somewhere else. And I want you to stay. I want your kids to stay. I want y'all to start businesses. I want your businesses to grow and thrive. I want you to love living here as much as you used to, as much as I used to. I want to be a proud Oregonian. That means we have to cut taxes. We have to cut taxes. I had legislation to freeze senior property taxes. I had legislation to increase the property tax exemption for our veterans. And for those of you that are Vietnam veterans that are here today, welcome home. Thank you for your service. I know yesterday was Vietnam Veterans Day, and I want to thank you guys for your service. But this is my why. It is to improve the life of Oregonians. And our regulatory burden is 7th highest in the nation. It's crazy right now. If you have a business in Oregon, you're being buried. If you are a consumer in Oregon, you're being buried in costs because that business is being buried in regulations. That's the connection. We have to reduce the regulatory burden, we have got to reduce taxes, and we have got to make this an affordable place to live again because it is the most extraordinary, beautiful place in the nation.
Danielle.
Yeah, I feel like if you're not voting Republican this year, then I don't know why you live in Oregon. Because like literally everyone on this panel is going to agree on the fact that Oregon is unaffordable. So just like show up and vote Republican. As governor, we have access to be able to reduce a lot of the regulation, the climate protection plan, the climate friendly equitable communities, the wage labor issues. There's so many things that add to the compression of cost. We don't have the ability for government to partner with local municipalities to engage in infrastructure so developers can go build housing units that are affordable without tacking on the cost of what the government's responsible for. We don't have the ability to hire individuals with the proper wage, because it's forced on us under minimum wage rules, for individuals to come into the trades. I own a plumbing company. Right now we're paying somebody $24 an hour that didn't know how to read a tape measure 3 years ago. There are so many things in each agency that adds to the unaffordability of being an Oregonian that we need to go literally with a sledgehammer and just cut through them and get rid of them. The legislature is responsible for a bulk of this. The Democrats in the legislature are the ones pushing these agendas, and the governor sits back silently making it happen because, oh gosh, it wasn't me. We need a voice in the governor's office that's pointing the finger. Getting rid of the cat tax is obviously a big deal, but there are so many more that we could take scalpels and move through, but I just want to sledgehammer our way through it and get rid of those regulations and talk to Oregonians about what they want in their communities. We deserve to live from the bottom up, not the top down in our systems, and as governor, I can assure you that we will have communities, cities, and counties running this state. Thank you.
Well, it's pretty simple. People, like Senator Drazan said, people don't want to be here anymore because they can't afford to be here. Housing, we have to fix housing, we have to fix the taxes, and we have to bring opportunity to Oregon. We should be the most thriving state in the United States, but we're not. Because the people in charge, I'm sorry, I have no other way to explain it, they hate us. They don't want us to succeed. We have to look at our land use laws, because we have a supply and demand issue here in Oregon. We're not having enough houses being built with the demand, and so competition is not there. We have to increase competition that will drive down the cost there. Representative Diehl talked about the cat tax. I can't tell you how many business owners I've talked to who have either left the state or shrunk their business because of the cat tax. And it is a hidden sales tax because they pass on the tax to you through the prices of their goods and services. And so the cat tax is something I would absolutely get rid of. I would do everything I can to lower the tax burden, bring families back, bring opportunities back, bring not just jobs, but high-paying jobs. With the utilities issue, there's two things here. I don't have enough time to go into it, but the utilities issue, Number one, our current leadership is allowing these AI data centers to invade our state, which is putting stress on our electrical grid and also causing an environmental issue. It's actually kind of crazy that these same climate change nuts have no problem with these AI data centers causing environmental issues in our state. So I would absolutely stop that. I would also stop out-of-state investors from buying up land and just to invest while we all pay the price with the housing. So we have to create opportunity, lower taxes, look at the land use issue, so we can get healthy, sustainable growth. And yes, I agree with Paul Romero, tapping into our natural resources. Why we're not doing that is beyond me. We should be the richest state in the nation, and we're not. So I'm gonna bring opportunity back. We're gonna, like Trump says, we're gonna win so much you're gonna get tired of winning. We are. Oregon has the tools to win, and we will win if I'm elected governor.
Said I wouldn't use a Trump win. It's hard not to.
Brad Peters?
Thank you. So this is a multifaceted problem as well. You mentioned first declining salaries. Look, we're running into an era where AI is rolling out. I've been involved in it from the ground up. I've been rolling out tech platforms for, like I said, for 20 years and disrupting various segments of the economy. You know, it's what tech does. Now it's doing it to the entire economy. So we're looking probably, in my estimation, within the next year or two, we're probably going to see a spike in unemployment that will boggle the mind in many cases. We need to prepare for that. And it is the people here in front of you that, you know, hopefully lead the way when that happens, because the alternative is pretty sad. The CAT tax, the activity tax, it's actually worse than a lot of people realize. I've been looking into this in depth. So back in, I think it was '79 when Oregon introduced the kicker tax. Ever since, Oregon legislatures have been trying to bury every freaking tax increase in the form of a fee or a permit or an assessment. If you add all these up, which I have done in depth and published on my website under a new revenue tab that you can find, bradpetersfororegon.com under revenue, Oregon is actually at close to a 17% overall taxation rate if you roll all that into one. You make $100, you're paying 17 cents. It might be a permit for your paddleboard. It might be renewals on your car every 2 years. Ultimately, I think we need to actually use AI, start integrating a lot of this automation into government function and use that to reduce costs.
Okay, so I'm going to try not to read so much. It's just, I'm new to all this. I don't have a lot of public events. I want to just, you know, try to keep down as script as possible. But really what's happening is I'm also running because I'm passionate about Oregonians, all ages, everyone here, how you're not able to keep up your housing, your utilities, check to check. That's who I'm after, the low income to middle income people, small business owners. That's a good focus. But what we need is stabilizing utility costs, increasing accountability for rate increases. Families should not be blindsided by rising energy and utility bills. What are we, the 5th in the United States for the highest gas right now? This is what we voted on, these bills, fourth. Yeah. So these small things need to change all around you to make your lives easier. Your costs, groceries, gas, apartments. My plan is to build apartments. My plan is to make jobs, manufacturing. We lose mills, we lose refineries, we don't bring anything back, we barely have our agriculture. So I just think it's a lot of little areas that we need to start catering to get this problem down as well, so people stop living almost homeless every day.
All right, let's go.
I'm already ready. Refrain, Chris. Say the question.
Do you want me to say a question?
Well, I do what I can. You know.
Yeah, about half of working families in Oregon are
He answered it already.
Oh, are we on the third? Wait.
Yeah, he started.
What?
I want to see if his answer is different. I want to see if his
I
answer
thought you wanted me to sing like Steve Perry or something. I don't know.
There's like something going on where it goes through.
It's just magical. That's all. That's just
Yeah. So we're on question 4, which I think that you guys answered so much on 3 that I'm going to move to 5, if that's okay.
Oh, we're going to answer
We're
number
going to
4.
4? You want to do 4? All right. So full disclosure, before Ed speaks, Ed Diehl, I just want to say that these I felt like were fair to send to the candidates first, because whenever I thought about the answers to these questions, I thought, well, I'd like a little bit of time to think about it, because I wanted thoughtful answers, right? So you're ready with your thoughtful answer, Ed?
I think so.
Okay, two things. Better be good. All right, I'm gonna read it. So sentiment is loud and clear. People feel like they're paying a lot and they're not getting much back whenever it comes to the government. At the same time, we're hearing concerns around education, homelessness, infrastructure, and overall quality of life. What specific results would you aim to deliver to make Oregon more attractive for people to live, work, and most importantly, stay here? And how would you actually get there from the governor's office?
Well, you know, we do live in the most beautiful state in the country, and the way I look at it, what good is that if we can't afford to live here, our kids can't get a good education, businesses are fleeing, what good is it? And when I look at the reason for all that, it comes down to government accountability and accountability in our agencies. After 4 decades of one-party governance, that's the problem. We need a governor, leadership at the top, that understands how to dive into those businesses. What?
You're breaking up. You shape line.
No, you're fine.
It's breaking up.
Is it dying?
It's fine. It's fine.
I don't know, maybe it's probably me holding it. But we need a governor at the top that knows how to dive into these agencies, reset their priorities, put leaders in there that understand how to go into those agencies. That is what it's going to take. We have programs that we introduce that never get evaluated for outcomes. You know, we got one-time funding from COVID relief money. We dump that in. We never evaluate those programs. We need performance-based budgeting. You're going to implement a new program. How much is it going to cost? What are the outcomes? We sunset it. If we're not hitting those outcomes, that program goes away. We can get our agencies aligned and reduce the cost of government and improve our deliverables and our outcomes. And we do this, the cost of living goes down, housing starts go up, a lot of things gets resolved. A lot of things get resolved once we get our agencies in place. Thank you.
Not bad, Ed.
Okay, very simply, we have to get an economy that's going to be conducive to business. We killed Weimar by the cat tax. It was the most affordable medications for people here in Oregon, and they killed it. Well, what do? The real issue comes down to workforce. My first degree is in workforce education and development. And let me tell you what, we do not have the workforce that we need for the future. We have an awful lot of young people. Well, I've been a substitute teacher part-time for the last year and a half to get an inside peek into the education system here in Oregon. It's been very telling. It's been very depressing. But what I found is a bunch of young people that really want a job. Problem is, all the jobs they normally have are being filled by their parents and their other adults. These part-time type jobs have become careers. This is a problem. So first thing we have to do is a school to work type program from 7th grade or 8th grade on up. Also, we have to start retraining our people from about graduates of 2000 forward. We need to train and set them up for electrician, plumber, welder. Heck, Glendale is actually teaching 7th graders how to weld. Yeah. And you want to know how cute they look in that welding outfit? I got to get that picture next time I'm there, let me tell you what. But the simple fact is we have the people that really want to learn and do these great things. But we have to create the opportunity. And that's what I'm going to do as governor. Thank you.
Christina, thank you. Do you want to change the batteries out?
I think it's fine.
Yeah, look, it sounds good.
Here's the thing. As governor, I'm going to fire agency heads. I'm going to veto the crazy. I'm going to propose a balanced budget that cuts the political agendas and cuts off the special interests. I'm going to reduce regulations. I am going to attack the cost increases and all the things that are going on in our state right now that are ruining our state, turning us into a citizenry of mediocrity. I'm going to turn it around because that's what it requires to truly commit to Oregon's best and brightest future. And the governor's office has a lot of tools available to us, and that's the extraordinary thing about the executive branch. Right now, it's been squandered and wasted on ideology and special interests. Every single day, we see special interests win and Oregonians lose. Whether or not that's the increases in the gas tax, whether or not it's a climate agenda that has done nothing but raise costs, whether or not it is our schools where they have abandoned our kids and abandoned our future, and they have spent all their time and money trying to indoctrinate instead of teach and educate. We can't fix all those things out of the governor's office. The governor is the superintendent of public instruction. I look forward to firing the Board of Education. They have got to go. We have to tackle this problem from every single angle with every single tool available to us, because it has taken them 40 years to get us into this deep, dark hole, and we are going to get out of it, but we have to not waste a single hour or a single day.
Good job, Christine. I agree with everything you just said. And to add to that, I mean, I do agree with everything that she said, but I also want to go several steps further than that. I'm a local elected leader in the 5th largest county in this state. My budget is almost $1 billion a year. And you know who gets in my way to be my best public servant? The governor and the legislature. Every single day. Because they think they run my community, but it turns out I do. 357,000 people show up in Marion County to elect county commissioners to do our job, and I can't do my job because the governor and the legislature won't get out of my way. Local control is where the rubber meets the road. We need governments that run from the bottom up. I've said this repeatedly, over and over again. Why do you have a school board? Why do you have a water district? Why do you have a city council? Why do you have a county commission? Pick a thing that you spend your time electing in the freaking May thing or the November thing. They all showed up to serve you with their outcome, whatever it is they believe you believe. But we can't do that because everything is sucked up to the top and run like it's from the moon. That is not how it's supposed to work. We need to compress government. We need to force back into statutory authorities for us at the local level to do our statutory jobs. I don't need the governor to tell me how to be a commissioner. I need her to listen to me and help me and stay out of my way. The government of the state needs to be smaller. There needs to be a lot less of them. Oregon Health Authority, 6,400 employees, give me a freaking break. Absolutely not necessary. Counties are the local mental health and public health authority. Why do we have duplication of services? We should not. Let's get rid of that.
How many billion is Oregon Health Authority? Do you guys remember?
There's no truth. It is the largest budget out of the 100. The Oregon Health Authority is Oregon's largest budget. It's 138 billion total state budget. The largest budget is the Oregon Health Authority.
And just to add on to that, that's only what they tell the legislature about, because there's a bunch of money sitting in counties that the Oregon Health Authority doesn't take ownership over through audit, that we hold on to them without telling the legislature.
We need a different mic.
Sir, you know what? He's a veteran, so let's just go off what he said. I think it sounds great. Are you guys? Is the mic okay? Is the mic okay? Okay. I love you, sir. Thank you for your service. By the way, this fire right here that you're feeling from all of us, isn't it awesome, like, to have that fire? Because our state is so filled with decline with corrupt people. Here's the thing. This is why I got in the race. Okay, is to end government corruption. We have a political machine that is broken.
Let's just make them happy.
Let's do it. It's for you.
He wins again.
No, keep going. Keep going. You're good.
Trying to figure out where I was at. Hold on. Okay. Ending government corruption. This is so fun. Ending government corruption. We have a political machine that is broken. Where is the money going? We have to figure out where every single dollar of our taxpayer dollars is going. And that's what I'm going to be committed to as governor. I'm going to doge the heck out of every single level of government and figure out where your money is going. And where there is corruption, where there are people getting paybacks, people will be held accountable, folks. I know this sounds crazy, and it sounds like, oh, he's just Wild Wild West is going to go in there. No, I'm going to stay within the Constitution, something the Democrats know nothing about. Something that they claim that they're defending, but they're actually hurting it. Just look no further than the ICE building down there where they're letting people attack our DHS officers. People are a threat to our state and our nation. They're despicable. Let me tell you something, folks. You talk about government spending and accountability. What happened to the COVID relief that we got, like $6 billion from the federal government for education? Where did that go? Where does the cat tax that we talked about earlier go? That's supposed to go to education. Where does that money go? Because our kids are ranked among the last in the nation in education. where's the money going? So as governor, I'm gonna make sure that our money is being tied to results. I wanna see results, and yes, I will fire every single department head. And I'm gonna go even further, Senator Drazan. I'm gonna fire their staff, I'm gonna fire everybody that I can that's connected to them, because we need a fresh start, and we need people like you taking back control of our government, you guys. Our government is out of control, and as governor, taking over that executive branch, I'll do everything I can to stand and fight for you and get us back on track. And it's not that crazy, just within the Constitution. It's not that crazy.
Yeah, he's a little bit. We've got a new question.
No.
No, I keep doing that. I'm sorry. Thank you. It's not personal. Yeah.
Is audio okay on this one? It sounded a little softer when I'm speaking.
I'll let you know.
Please do. So, okay, 5-second mic drop on government aspect, and then I will move on to education. The question was, how do we get people to live, work, and stay in Oregon, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah.
Okay.
And how would you get there from the governor's office?
Got you. So, okay, the government level, I would institute what's called zero-based accounting as quickly as possible. Audits are great, but they're one time. Zero-based accounting measures means every time a budget is renewed, people come in and from the bottom up, you're reviewing that whole thing. It gives you a lot of discretion as to what continues and what doesn't. So I'm guessing, given where we're at, a lot of people here are aware that Oregon suspended basic graduation requirements through 2028. So we're basically passing people along without any real learning. This is fundamentally breaking society. I, as governor, would reinstitute graduation standards day one. This is pathetic. Let me see here. So, I am playing with a concept I call alternative educational pathways. Something I would like to see. I'm not sure how this would be introduced, but I want to share the idea because I think it's really awesome. So, from the ground up, grade 1 through grade 12 and probably into college, introduce technical routes of focus and expertise where you allow children to follow their areas of passion, not just what they are assigned to learn, but what they're actually interested in and driven to learn, and expose them to the best and the brightest. Because guess what? The way things are today, you can learn from MIT professors sitting here in Oregon and never leave your house. Things are changing, and we need to make that happen.
Are we still on the same question? What specific results
Yeah.
do we aim to deliver to make
Yes.
Oregonians more attractive? Or
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this comes down to a lower cost of living, restore public safety and accountability. It's the same things you've heard. You're having a little room for everyone. I don't agree with us closing down mental health facilities where a police officer can pull up to someone and realizes they're either struggling on drugs or with a mental illness. There isn't really when someone is struggling from mental illness too, I was gonna say, there's no finding a source for that. Some people are born with illnesses and they should be housed permanently and cared for, especially if they have no family, no other resources. If we found that to be a place we didn't want to put tax dollars a long time ago, I think now we're looking at that a little differently. Accepting is huge in Oregon. We don't want division. We want everyone housed, veterans, senior citizens, high school students be able to get out of high school and be able to support themselves. We need to create things in the state that allow these groups to do that, to be more independent. I support Oregon families and everyone working so hard here to survive, and I want to find better resources for everyone.
Thank you.
It's on me.
DeAngelo, it's definitely you now.
Okay, so,
I was a little early.
so again, repeat the question, please.
Sure, I'd love to. So we're talking about sentiment that's loud and clear that people feel like they're paying a lot and they're not getting much back. And so I'd like to know what specific results would you aim to deliver to make Oregon more attractive for people to live, work, and play? And how would you actually get there in the governor's office? From the governor's office?
Well, guys, here's what I offer. No. Did my time stop right now? You know, my sister over here, this is how they roll.
She did great.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah, I got you.
Here we go. I offered a day of solidarity for the legislation when I was down there here last year. I believe that we all need to stand together on one accord. One of the things I keep telling people is that in order for Oregon to be attractive, you have to offer a day of solidarity along with a day of amnesty. You know, these are the things that people are afraid of when they come from another country, or they're here, or they don't want to be here. We have to offer services of good and healthy services. One of the things I want to make sure you guys understand is that I wrote a program called Youth as a Nation. And what that does is allow young guys and young girls to speak about what their issues is at their age. So by the time they get to where we are, they have made an impact to our community. See, we don't pay attention to young people or those people that are disabled or have a disadvantage. We try to get rid of those people, but they keep voicing their voices and saying, hey, we need help. We need some understanding. We need somebody to show us what we need to do. We can't disregard of who they are in our state. So we need to do one infomercial. That means everybody here, or all the legislators, all my brothers and sisters here on this panel, we need to do an infomercial and stating that, hey, we're here to stand together with you, not to depart from you. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
That's what it's all about. God bless.
Thank you.
He's like, what do I do this?
You went, so Paul, you're going to start this one. This is one of my favorite questions because it's something I'm pretty troubled about. We have these growing concerns that we have political capture in the state of Oregon, where organizations like public unions and some of the people who continue to get the grants through the government, the nonprofits in some cases, have significant influence over policy while also receiving large amounts of public funding that continues that reciprocal loop. As governor, what ideas do you have to ensure that the system is transparent, it's accountable, and it's no longer self-serving? And if you think there's ways in which it's working, I'd love to hear why.
You know, I wish it was working. I think it's been pretty evident to everybody that it's not, except for the people that are making money. And right now, we have so many nonprofits. I mean, you probably don't even know that a big chunk of your gas money goes right to a nonprofit. It doesn't even go to the state treasury. It bypasses our treasury and goes straight to a climate change group. This had to do with the carbon tax. Remember that? Remember that in one voice, Oregonians said no? Well, Kate Brown said yes. And that's the kind of power that a governor can wield. So fundamentally, we have to go through all these nonprofits, all the general fund, first in our Doge audit, and we have to shut them down. But the other thing we need to do is claw some of that money back. We have to go after them because they've not done the work they were hired to do. In addition, we have another issue. How much of that money makes it back? We have another nonprofit, OregonChinaCouncil.org. No one even asked about it. What money are they getting? They're nonprofit registered. Huge issue for the state of Oregon, especially when we have Communist China owning almost 1.5 million acres of Oregon. Yeah, this needs to be stopped. And the people that are supporting it definitely should not be in office. So we have a lot going on, folks. We have a lot of wasted money, and just that alone will greatly reduce all the taxes, even before we get to the point of using our resources, which will then take care of the rest of those taxes. So, thank you.
You know, there is no doubt that the legislature and the governor's office are owned by special interests. They just are. Just take one recent example that everybody's paying attention to, ODOT. Their budget was short a couple $100 million, and Republicans repeatedly gave them balanced budget options. So you don't have to raise taxes to not fire people that are otherwise plowing your roads in the winter. You just have to responsibly use the money we've already gotten you, or we've already given you. Budgets are priorities, right? Right. What was their first response? Almost $15 billion in new taxes was the first proposal. You guys, for like a $350 million, $400 million budget shortfall, they wanted to raise taxes $15 billion. Every penny of that, every conversation about that was driven by unions, special interests, people that had their hand out, the nonprofits that get that money handed to them through climate issues and everything else. You know how we fix it? We fire the people in charge. Tina Kotek has got to go. That's how we fix it. to fix this special interest stranglehold and the union stranglehold on our state government by firing the people that are beholden to those special interests. As governor, I will put Oregonians first. As governor, I will stand up to the unions and the special interests in Oregon. You guys will win and they will lose.
How many of you, just out of curiosity, have ever tried to get government money to do any type of service? Just as a show of hands. It's the most ridiculous process in your life to go through. On purpose, they make it hard for governments to contract work out into the public for a variety of reasons, but mostly to protect union jobs, to protect PERS-based employees. As a county commissioner, we have 7 collective bargaining agreements. In fact, I enter into them just very soon, like next week, to negotiate with every one of those groups on what they believe they deserve to be public servants. And don't get me wrong, they deserve to be accountable to you. They also deserve to be taken care of because some of them do really important work on behalf of our public. But a bulk of them need to be held accountable through other means of access to produce services. We have a contracting system in Oregon that has 0 transparency and no accountability. As a county commissioner, I work hard to not take money from the state of Oregon because I don't want to be tied to the policy objectives of the governor and the Democrat legislature. I don't want to force their expectations onto my community, so we try to figure out how to get things done at the local level. We need to make sure that our systems are transparent, that everybody understands what they're buying, what is our ROI, how do you know what you're paying for is what you're receiving. There's ways to do that through dashboards to show the public access to these systems, but more importantly, we don't need such large government. We need to have a healthy relationship of a stable system that can help the most vulnerable, help Oregon along as far as its economy and stabilization, and let the community as a whole work itself out.
Yeah, so here's the thing. If we're gonna fix the problem, we have to stop taking money from unions that are destroying our education and our, so as a governor, I will commit to going after the unions that are hurting Oregon. Namely are the teachers unions that are hurting our education. We are among the last in the nation in education, yet the teachers unions consistently get millions of dollars and then just funnel that money back to Democrat candidates. Actually, back in 2022, not a teachers union, but SEIU, you know how much money they gave Tina Kotek? Like $3 million in her race against Senator Drazan. Gave her, what did you get from that? Did you get any of that, Senator Drazan? 0. We have to go after these unions. I'm going to do everything I can as governor to support groups that are actually going after these unions and educating members. Groups like the Freedom Foundation and Teachers Freedom Alliance. I'm going to do everything I can to help because we, like Romero said, we have to go after them. They are destroying our education. They're destroying our state. And one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make them accountable, and I'm going to have it tied to results. I want every taxpayer dollar that goes to these unions be tied to results. You have to show us the results. Part of this is transparency. I want to know where the money's going. I want to separate the money, what money is going for political activity and what money is actually going towards bettering their members' lives and fighting for their members. And so we need transparency, and the unions are a big reason why Democrats win in Oregon.
I was getting on David.
David said the key word for me, transparency. This is fundamental, I think, to any conversation going forward. We have, so the topic was not-for-profits, and I think my mind immediately went to in-state not-for-profits and regulations that we can do to clarify that. But we also do have to consider on the international stage the not-for-profits that are influencing Oregon politics and Oregon economics, really. We look at the World Economic Foundation, the World Health Organization. We have organizations that are playing in our local pools, pushing politicians in directions that we really aren't aware of until we see something like, in Oregon, or here in Portland actually, there's been a concerted push to remove all availability of fuel, of gas stations anywhere near the metro area. This has been a specific goal, not just a side effect, but a goal. So transparency is key. I've been working for 3 years on a blockchain solution, rebuilding basically Bitcoin from the ground up. I think blockchain is the transparency driver of the future. I would absolutely commit to putting all state financial numbers and interactions and reporting all on blockchain so it can never be modified. It is available to everybody. Not FOIAs, not freedom of information requests where you have to go and beg for information and then maybe you get some of it, maybe you don't. No, let's make it public and let people go through all of it. I don't know if that was red or if we're still good. How are we?
Oh, you're done.
We're good? Just good for a bite there.
I'm gonna keep this short and simple, very short and very simple. I have a little bit of emergency. I may have to leave before the last 2 questions are done. That's not like me. But I've always had a little issue with somebody with their hand out and nothing to offer. So like every third party with its hand out, it should be investigated thoroughly, its purpose, its objective, its percentages, what's fair and what's not fair. And I'll keep it simple there, okay? I don't know if that question was about cities earlier, but I wanted to say that part of the thing I wanted to do to downtown, while I have a few extra moments here, this may be a little something crazy to mention at the Columbia Christian School, but I want a drag district in downtown Portland. We have a lot of drag, I can say queens, drag wearing individuals. We have a lot of drag. We have a very open society and accepting in Oregon, so that's what I would like. I'd like to create businesses downtown Portland that really accept everyone in Oregonians culture. So,
Do you want me to repeat the question?
All the time.
All right.
All the time. Repeat the question, please.
All right. There's a growing concern from people in this state about political capture, where organizations like public unions and some nonprofits have significant influence over policy, while also receiving large amounts of public funding that reciprocally loop elections. As governor, how would you ensure that system is transparent, accountable, and not self-serving?
One of the things that's being done right now is that they monitor all activities in and out of the accounts that we are using, everyone here. Doesn't matter who they are. So I think that all the politicians and those people that are in that position, they need to have their stuff looked at too. Doesn't matter who you are. I see other people get stuff all the time. And nobody's making even a question about it. But now that we are here, we are under the spotlight more than anyone in the world. So why would they get the exception? You know, these guys go out of their way, they work every day, they make donations to these people, but at the same time, when they make the donations, nobody is talking about who gave them the money. See, I notice now that I heard one of our constituents have received $1 million. I don't need all that money to do my job. I just want you guys to understand I'm here to do your job for you. I told you, as your chief and commander, I am going to watch over you like a father to a child. That is my job. My brothers and sisters that are here, I talk to Medina all the time. This is what my God. He stands on justice. That's what he does. My sister Christine, she does that too. And been to my church. That's why I know how she believes. And my brother here, very mathematical. He's very astute. I'm telling you guys, I don't play any games. You know, this is why we're up here. These guys are up here to make a difference. And this lady right here, she sits at the Capitol. She's very tentative and meticulous. So if I was given the opportunity, I must use all my sources here to make sure the people who's been stealing won't steal again.
I'm gonna hone in on the public sector unions. You know, you gotta ask yourself, how is it that an SEIU with 60,000 members, half of which I'll tell you don't even agree with their own leadership, how is it that they have more voice in that building than the 250,000 people that signed that transportation tax and fee referendum? Because they do. The first thing I noticed when I got into the legislature in 2023 is there is not a single bill that goes through there that the SEIU opposes or the teachers union. And if they support a bill, they will fight for that come hell or high water, and the Democrat legislators do their bidding. Now, I fought against them with the Freedom Foundation. We fought against some bad bills, and we were able to defeat them. They continue to come back. I filed ethics complaints against the SEIU. So as governor, you need a governor who is willing to fight these guys and push back hard. They operate like an unelected, unaccountable fourth branch of government. I don't think collective bargaining should be legal in the public sector union. I really don't. That came from J.F. Kennedy, and he made a mistake. And it's hard for me to say, I'm not opposed to unions. My dad was a union member. My brother's a union member. This isn't about unions. It's about public sector unions and the incestuous relationship they have with the legislators that they put in. And I will do everything in my power to weaken them.
I think we're ready for our next question. Christine, this is going to be for you, and this is an education question. So, Oregon's public education system is among the highest in spending. We kind of talked about this, right? Yet at or near the bottom in results. I saw that we're 48 for fourth grade education, I think most people know. We're 50th if you figure out kids that are minorities or at risk because of poverty. 50th. So, this is really emotional for me for some reason. So there's kids in these numbers, they're fourth grade, and like reading comprehension at that age is so important for the things that they are going to learn. So time really matters. And so my question is, as governor, you set the direction for our education system. We know that you're gonna let go the person who is over OEA. That makes sense to me. Besides that, what's your plan to improve outcomes, not just restore the standards for kids?
Before you start, can we get 2 minutes on this really important question each?
Yeah.
Great.
We have time.
I just think it's important that we address.
We're gonna go 2 minutes on this. Thank you, Danielle.
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you. She just gave me extra 30 seconds.
That's right.
As governor, I'm committed to making Oregon the best place in the nation to do what? Raise your own family, right? Start a business, grow a business, and get a world-class education. That's not what she just described. She just described one of the worst education systems in the nation. And we're paying more than almost anybody else across the nation for a system that's failing our kids every single day. We have got to restore our commitment to those kids. They all matter. But we have lowered our expectations for what their futures look like. Our current governor has never had kids. Our governor before that has never had kids. We're talking about a whole series of people that have led our state that are the superintendent of public instruction that have not stepped foot in a classroom with skin in the game because their kid is being left behind.
That's right.
And I can tell you, during COVID, I was the House Republican leader, and I fought tooth and nail to reopen schools. And it was personal for me. My kid at that time was spiraling. She was in her first term in the 8th grade, and she went from being bright and bubbly and outgoing and good grades to sitting in a dark room refusing to talk to anyone. The minute we could get her into any in-person situation, we got her there and drove her and did all the things that parents do who love their kids when they have options. Our kids today deserve options. Yes. We need school choice. We have got to restore those graduation requirements, we know that. Teachers need to be able to manage their classrooms and kick disruptive kids out. And if kids cannot read by 3rd grade, they can't move on. Yeah. No social promotion, period. Yeah. Kids have to learn how to read. We've got to stop treating our schools like they're there to raise our kids. The government is not ever going to raise my kids, and as long as I'm governor, they're not going to raise yours either. Ideology and politics out of the classroom, education and academics back. An extra 30 seconds, and it's still going way too fast.
You did good. You nailed it. So I just want to tell you something really quick. So I served almost an entire term on the 2nd largest school board in the state, Salem Kaiser. And I left, just so you know, not because of threat of violence, but because I had to get my kids out of that abysmal woke space. Christine and I share an example of what it is to take a young child through COVID and oppression and wokeism and save their lives. Yeah. And there is nothing more important to me than my children. Nothing. Not even a position I got elected to. On average, Oregon's school year lasts 165 days, compared with 179 days in the US as a whole. And fewer students receive 9% fewer instruction hours than their counterparts around the country. Over time, that adds up to one entire missed school year in a K-12 experience. We are setting our kids up for failure, a fundamental, outright fact. We need to focus on academics. And I can tell you as a kid who navigated homelessness and the despair of poverty in this state, in Oregon's public school system, what it is to not have comprehension and reading until middle school. It's a miracle that I am who I am today, and it's only because of hard work and people who saw me as a human of worth that invested in me outside of public schools in this state over 30 years ago. We have not been on track with our kids as a priority in my lifetime. Not in safety in their homes, not in success in their classrooms, and not public safety in our communities. We can do better and we should do better. In fact, when I become the governor, the superintendent of education, we'll go back to the people and we will have somebody elected to that office, because while I think it's important that we roll back the dysfunction of the system that we have today as governor, you shouldn't take the most important entity in your state and hand it over to somebody that has no experience or education in that space. We should have somebody in charge of education that understands education and academics, not wokeism, not DEI, not behavioral health. Our system shouldn't be divided based on what's not happening in the community at home, in the classroom. We focus on academics, and then you focus on partnership with all the systems around that are available today that we need to lean on.
I'm sorry, I'm so crazy, man. Sorry. Folks, what's happening to our kids, what's happened to our kids in Oregon, what's happened to our education system is criminal, in my opinion. It's criminal. The fact that our kids are lacking in reading, writing, and math, the fact that we are among the last in the nation in test scores, and I can't tell you how many educators I spoke to. I spoke to one tonight, Elizabeth, spoke to one tonight, one of the good ones. I've spoke to so many educators who feel like they don't have control of their classroom, who feel like they can't discipline kids. I don't think it's so much as a school problem, it's a culture problem, it's a parent problem. And so I say we empower the good educators to hold students accountable. I think it's good for them. I don't know about you, but back in the day when I was in school, when they put me in the back detention center to work by myself, that made me want to get back in that classroom because I got expelled a lot. I know, shocker. But here's the thing, is, first of all, yes, I will appoint the best person to lead our Department of Education. And then I will direct every single governmental mandate of DEI and woke stuff completely out of our schools, and I will not let up on that. There won't be an inch of it left. Because our kids are being trained today to be political activists more than being ready for the real world. And so I want to invest in our kids. I'm also a school choice supporter. I support school choice. I think our government has lost the right to control the tax dollars when it comes to our children. So I'm going to go even further. I want to actually look at micro schools. I want to give more empowerment to people who want to educate their kids and educate their communities. We need to increase competition with our education system because, folks, the corruption in our broken education system, it's not going anywhere, even with a Republican being elected as governor. We have to set long-term goals to set up our kids for success and empower families and put our parents back in the driver's seat and get this woke crap, political activism. They're literally teaching them to be communists these days. Gotta get it out. We're getting it out as governor.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned it, David. Parents are absolutely critical here. Parents are always going to have their children's best interest at heart. Therefore, the system by default should always allow for full parental transparency. Curriculum, textbooks, what's in the library, everything, top to bottom, full transparency. Also, I think, turning to my tech background again, I think education is in the process of changing. It is going to change more rapidly over time. We're moving into a point where AI is going to be integrated into learning because it's obviously extremely good at teaching. The question really becomes, how do we adopt that? How do we integrate that in a way that is a smooth transition from where we are to where we're going? You know, how do we keep teachers involved and give teachers the flexibility, but also the, somebody looking over their shoulder, making sure that the child is not being led astray by an AI that itself has some weird idea about what should be taught. So there's absolutely still a role for teachers in where we're going. However, AI is becoming integral. And there's so many companies that are working on programs that are phenomenal. Texas is integrating this already, and the results they're seeing are stunning. So the opportunities are there. Other than that, I will just say I really do believe parents allowing children, sitting down with a child and helping a child decide on these alternative educational pathways. If you want to learn robotics, you should be able to. The child talks to parents say, yes, this is right for little Johnny, we're going that path, sign off on it, and we do it. There is a concern on the race also around this idea. So Britain just launched requirements for identity being provided in order to gain access to the internet for the entire country. We're sort of taking steps this way as well. We're losing anonymity online. I, as governor, would push back on that. I believe that instead what we should have is parents simply, they always use children as the excuse, right? We need to protect these children. Instead, allow parents to sign off and say, look, this child is mature enough, whatever the age, to be able to successfully have online access on baby flag. So thank you.
Oregon's public education system is among the highest in spending, yet at or near the bottom in results. There are kids behind these numbers, future adults, at a real disadvantage right now and continuing as this doesn't change, so time matters. As governor, you set the direction for our education system. What is your plan to improve outcomes for these kids?
First thing we have to do is shop around and find bulldogs to teach the curriculum in school. It has to be done. We sit up here and we talk, and most of the time we talk, it doesn't resonate with some of the people. Most of these people in here, they take a stone and they go to a lake and they throw it out there, and you see the ripples of effect, it lands on everybody outside of the water. That's what's happening to everybody in this room. My job as your chief would go in and get the bulldog. The guys like Carter that teach education really hard, takes away the television and the computers and make them do their work. We're not getting back to that. I guess we're just being too soft. And they're taking advantage of the adults now. They don't let you discipline, and believe me, I got a lot of whoopings for not doing what I'm supposed to do. But I want you guys to understand that you guys are family, and because if I was in your house and I wasn't being obedient, guess what's gonna happen? The things that got me fun will be taken away. That's what we need to start doing, taking the fun away inside of your house as these people growing up in your house. It seems like the child is the parent and the parent is the child. Well, I guess I missed somebody in here. But again, guys, the education system needs to be fixed. I want to lower the taxes for the educational system so that we can make sure that they are provided with higher wages for the teachers. The rooms are going from 30 students to 60 students. Yes, it is growing, unbelievably. And then because of this growing, let's look at the universities. The universities are not being packed anymore because why? The economic problem is really bad, and the education is starting bad. So we have to fix that. I'm talking to my brothers and sisters here because this is my team, and my team, one of us, have to do the job. And I stand on it.
So I think you're hearing a common theme here. I think we're all kind of in agreement on the state of our schools. I had about 30 kids they were high school kids, part of a turning point. They came to the Capitol and I gave them a tour. We sat down and we talked about what was going on in the classrooms. And I went through public school. I had a great experience. My wife went through public school. Our kids did. But the stories these kids are telling you are unbelievable. You go to a math class, and a third of the time in that math class is talking about identity politics. I mean, no wonder these kids are struggling at math. Or a student says something about their political view, and teachers behind the scenes are chastising them, calling them names. That is the situation in our schools. So we know we have to change that. One thing I would do as governor, HR 1, the big beautiful bill, included basically a scholarship program. that would allow tax credits if you gave to a school scholarship fund that could be used for private school. That is a inroad into school choice. And it also keeps hundreds of millions of dollars in the state if we take advantage of that. Governor Kochak doesn't want anything to do with it. We need to adopt that.
Yeah.
I'm also for school choice. I brought legislation into the building about school choice. But I want our public schools to work. And I've talked to teachers who are just as frustrated as we are. For me, our education system is fixed with accountability, discipline, and excellence. That covers a lot of territory. A lot of it's been discussed here. And the governor is the superintendent of public education in Oregon. So the buck stops there. And you look at where our money is going now, it's going to administration. It's not going into the classroom. We need to direct that money into the classroom where it will impact the students most. Thank you.
Well, in summary.
You need a microphone.
Yeah, I don't know, do I need a microphone? Anyway, in summary, what we have is a whole lot of individuals that are hell-bent on turning this state into a full-on idiocracy. And they need stupid people. They need uneducated people. They can't afford to have a workforce with education and training. Now, I'm Generation X. I turned 60 here in 3 months. I know, I look so young. Look good. But the simple fact is that our millennials, all the way down to the zennials, Generation Zombie, whatever you want to call them, what I tell them when I'm talking to them is that, listen, I see you guys have all the potential, all the skills to actually be Generation X squared. That's right. I think you guys can be better than us. The good news, you have us to help you get there. So take advantage of that. Now, one thing I wanted to do is give a little shout out to Camas Valley first graders. That's right. Let me tell you about these first graders. Taught them the Pythagorean theorem in a week. You want to know what first graders are capable of in Oregon? There you go. And when I talk to them about math, I say, guys, what do you think about math? They go, we love math! That's the attitude we need in our education. From the teachers, everybody. A lot of teachers, they are underpaid. I'll tell you why. They're having to deal with kids on the spectrum. They're having to deal with problem children in their classrooms. They're not even trained to do this. And they're definitely not paid to do it. All this has a direct effect on those kids that need the education. Teachers aren't really able to teach. This creates a huge vacuum. And for me, having witnessed it firsthand, let me tell you guys, we have some great students. We really do. But they need an opportunity. And it's going to take us to do it. It's going to take an amazing governor. Someone's willing to be that superintendent of schools to go in there and really to fix some problems. To go in like a bull in a china shop a little bit, but with real direction, real focus. And with our workforce, that's where it starts. But it also continues up into 35 plus. We can retrain everybody, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to go into the fast round. It's one question for these governor candidates.
Should we all stand up and pass the microphone as fast as possible?
Yeah, I'd like to see this work fast. They're going to stand up and they're going to pass the mic as fast as possible.
Okay.
All right.
I'm ready.
Here's the question. In your first 6 months as governor...
Wait, is everyone listening?
Yeah, I don't know. You guys ready? Okay. Good call, Danielle. In your first 6 months as governor, Danielle, what's one thing people would actually feel that you would change?
You will feel heard. I mean, at the end of the day, we are not being heard. We are not being represented. We are not being understood. We're not being seen. And as governor, I can assure you, I will do the same thing I do as a county commissioner. I will show up and I will fight for you. I will deliver on what we promised you during my campaign and more. You will understand why government has been so awful and how we're going to change it, and we're going to start executing from the first day a lot of those policies that need to be reformed. It's going to be a long battle. We've been doing this for 40 years, and in all this deficiency and inefficiency and lying, we have to overcome that. First day.
David, first 6 months as governor.
Well, folks, a lot of you that have been following my work for years, you guys have told me that you felt like you had more of a voice through the work that the Lord has done through me, through my platforms. Me being out in the streets of Portland fighting for you, being your voice, enhancing your voice, helping enhance the voices of some of the great legislators here. Folks, no matter who gets elected, these people are going to go crazy. We know the enemy that we're up against. I mean, they're for sure going to riot if DeAngelo gets elected. I'm just going to tell you right now. But here's the thing. Sorry. Here's the thing, guys. We're in a different fight. You need a fighter who's actually been doing the work, who has actually been in the belly of the beast, and I continue to do that as governor.
All right, 30 seconds. I think Oregon would be amazed at how quickly I'm able to turn around some really critical things. So one thing, water for farmers. I come from Roseburg. My parents are ranchers. I've grown up on ranches. You know, I've identified a path by which I believe we can legally allow uphill ponds as irrigation sources within 3 to 6 months. I also, secondarily, housing. I am laser focused on housing. I think the state is in the way of housing. It's talking of cheaper housing. I have a path.
It's my turn. Okay, guys, listen up and listen up very carefully. The very first time I get in there, those guys that have not been doing their job, they're fired. Fired, it's no game. And my brothers and sisters, if they don't win, they're gonna be on my team, and we're gonna use all the sources that they got so we can attack those demos and get rid of those zeros. Okay, but listen, guys, you can find me on www.DeAngeloTurner.com, and you can reach me and make donations, all that other stuff. But again, I'm your household guy that cleans up a lot of mess.
Okay, you will feel relief. You will feel relief. You will see your energy costs come down because we're repealing executive orders that are driving them up. You've already saved $200 and some because the referendum is on the ballot. That's about $200 per household saved just in gas and transportation fee increases. That's going to continue. You will see businesses say, "I'm going to stay," because they're going to be able to get their permits and start building. And you're going to see housing production start going up because things will accelerate too. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'd say a whole lot of hope. What you're going to see is a whole bunch of nullification of a bunch of executive orders dating all the way back to Bethell. That'll be a big part of gutting out the core root problems affecting us today. Next step is going to be, well, do a lot of firing. I've been practicing this. What do you think? Hey, you're fired. That'd be okay? Yeah. You're going to see education do a 180. No more indoctrination, no more funding grants to the Gender or Sexuality Alliance, things like that are kind of hidden from you. So.
You're gonna feel proud because you did it. You get a Republican governor, if any one of us win and we get this thing done, praise God. It's because you did it. This isn't gonna be handed to any of us. This race is in our hands. This is our time. Winning is our choice. We have to want this. You're going to feel confident. You're going to feel over the moon. You're going to have swagger. And you're going to feel like there's hope again. You're going to know you can trust your governor. And you guys, hasn't this been a great time tonight? Thank you.